Hi, my name's Chloe Leary. I'm the Executive Director of the Winston Prouty Center. I am excited to be sharing an update about our development project on our campus in Brattleboro. We have been talking about this for a couple of years, and we're zeroing in on phase one. So I'm going to do a little bit of vision and history, talk about why we're starting with phase one where we are, share the site plan and design concept, and then talk about traffic, which has been a really big concern, and share next steps. So a little bit of history. This is the bird's eye view of our campus. So this main part that's developed is 27 acres, and we're really talking about how can we contribute this resource to solving the housing crisis that's not only in Vermont, but nationwide. Actually, in Windham County, a recent housing needs assessment said we will need between 2,500 and 3,700 units of housing in the next 5 years. That's 500 units per year for the next 5 years if we want to keep up and have a healthy, vibrant housing continuum. So we want to do what we can to contribute that, if at all possible. And we're talking about housing for anybody, affordable for lots of people. So highest income, lowest income. We really want this to be an inclusive community because it's really the healthiest way for us to live together. This is a view from the top of the hill, similar to my background. And why here? Part of it is because it's beautiful. It's close to downtown. You could walk to the hospital, to the grocery store, the pharmacy, and we're connected to infrastructure already, water and sewer. We actually have public transportation on campus. The mover comes here. And really thinking about infill development to protect woods is part of our plan. There's 180 acres here. We're not going to build, we're not going to tear down trees. We're going to, I mean, some trees might come down, but we really want to focus on how do we preserve this landscape and contribute the resource we can to housing. There's also a really vibrant community on campus already. Lots of people here using the trails, using the fields, using the gym, lots of tenants on campus. So we feel like talking about housing is contributing to an already vibrant community. A little bit of what we've done so far, lots of studies, environmental assessment, wetland study, stormwater master plan is underway with getting to permitting. And we had the town of Brattleboro include us in neighborhood designated status, which really helps us be part of sort of downtown development intention. So lots has happened in the past couple of years. And we've had lots of support from lots of different people in the community and lots of different entities. The most recent was that the governor in his budget address last week said designated $1 million to 3 different projects separately around Vermont, and one of them was ours to help with infrastructure costs. So feels really great to get that acknowledgement that this is important and we can move forward, and we have the support of lots of different people and entities. So initially we had been talking about, this is our initial master plan, big buildings, 342 units was this plan. So this was 2 years ago, 2023, spring of 2023. You know, built into the landscape, sort of looking up the Connecticut River Valley, really beautiful. We learned really expensive and really hard to phase, and we got really good feedback, frankly. So we moved on and kept talking about what would make sense here. And we revised it and this is just actually in 2024. We did a couple different iterations of what would it look like for multifamily buildings that are smaller. So we learned about a project in Hyannis that these are 6 and 10 unit buildings. So we thought, oh, what if we take that concept and apply it to our campus and really make it sort of more, again, easier to phase and more not so dramatic on the landscape. Came up with this bird's eye view of what that might look like in a 3D. And then so that was in August of 2024, we presented that. In the last few months, we raised some money so that we can keep doing our pre-development work. We wanted to raise 150,000. We've raised 120 so far. So we're still working on that 30,000. And this has really allowed us to finish site planning and site design. And then we are excited to be working with Green Stacks, which is a modular design firm out of Boston, to think about how we could take that product and put it to scale here. They have some very successful projects in Boston and the surrounding area. So we are moving forward with that and getting quotes from modular manufacturers. And continuing forward with permits and entitlements. We're going to go to the Development Review Board on February 19th and pursue put in our stormwater application, and then we've asked for a jurisdictional opinion from Act 250 to see if our project is exempt. So the current conceptual design, looking down, looks pretty similar in the sense of there you see some small buildings, potentially some larger buildings, again, all with a modular design system from Green Stacks. And if you'll notice, we're really phase one, looking at a smaller area that's down at the eastern end of campus near the entrance. Is really all that we're focused on right now. So keeping the big picture in mind, but scaling down to phase the project so we can have a better handle on what is this that we're doing, can we do it, how will it work? So we picked that spot because it's really separate. It won't interrupt traffic on campus. It'll be sort of contained to a small site. It has a different entrance, and it feels manageable, and that is something we can take some of what we've learned, apply it, and learn some more about what works and what makes sense. It has a separate entrance, as I said, to Maple Street. It has water and sewer that will need minimal upgrades. And the current house that's there is not in great shape. So it doesn't feel like we're losing something super valuable that will be adding value to the landscape. And really this smaller initial development fits into our phased approach and helps us figure out sort of, again, take what we've learned, apply it on a small scale, and then go from there and see what's possible going forward. So looking at down from the, again, kind of bird's eye view, you can see 91 right here in this part of the picture. And then for those of you who know the area, this is Maple Street curving around. This is the main entrance to the campus. So existing driveway, having parking, and this is, we're proposing 28 units. And this is an example of that, this housing type. It's a triple decker modular construction. This is an example from a project in Lowell that we went to visit. So you can see it's three stories and looks a lot like a triple decker you might find in Worcester, Mass, which I know we're not in Worcester, but you know, it looks like something that you might see in New England in this area. So here's a conceptual drawing. This looks a little, this just to say this is, you know, a rendering that is not necessarily, colors can change, format can change, all that sort of thing. But this is the front view, 10 one-bedroom, 10 studios proposed, 6 two-bedroom and 2 three-bedroom units. Here it is from the side. This is what would be facing Maple Street, just for a little bit of context. And here's a conceptual street view. You'd be unlikely to see this view from very long because it's looking right on as you're driving up the street, but it gives you a sense of the scale and how it would fit on the site. Again, colors can change. This is a conceptual rendering of what it might look like from the street. Here are some interior pictures of the units that would be produced. Essentially, it would copy that's sort of the concept of modular construction. So I get a sense of the interior and what it might look like. And really thinking about modular as we've always talked about building for the future. How do we make this sustainable? How do we be thoughtful and intentional about the products we use, the efficiency, and frankly, how do we cut costs if at all possible? The cost of housing is really high. That's been part of the problem of development in Vermont. So part of our solution, we want to focus on where can we find efficiencies? And so modular offers that, you know, it's offsite construction. It can happen all year long. If you do something repetitively, you can get volume and people get practiced on building it. So there are some upsides in terms of efficiencies and just the materials we use and also the how it's built, having a tight envelope, using energy efficient appliances and heating systems. So really thinking about how to build green. And really want to emphasize this housing is going to be for lots of different people. So our market study showed, you know, workforce housing, middle income, market rate housing is really a need. And again, I'm going to refer to that robust housing continuum. You know, we need all sorts of housing to fill out. It's not one kind of housing. And so we really hope this project contributes to that continuum. A variety of sizes will offer a variety of rent rates. So natural affordability, hopefully you might not be able to afford a 2-bedroom, so you have to live in a little smaller unit. There are different ways that hopefully this can contribute to being affordable for a lot of different kinds of people, but that it's not income qualified. And phase one will really help us figure out if that will work. Funding is, we don't want to be constrained by some of the public funding streams that sort of dictate who and how people can live someplace. So we're really looking at debt and equity. What can we borrow and what can we find in investments and fundraising? So if, 80%, you can borrow 80% of the value of a project, which isn't always the same as a cost, but and that's, one of the problems people will tell you in Vermont is that the value at the end of the day will be less than the cost. So ballpark, if it's a $9 million project and that is the value, we could borrow 7 million and raise a couple million. But again, if that would change depending on, where things stand and end up at the end of the day. So, but just that sense of keeping the capital stack simple. Traffic is a really big concern, and understandably so. It's already a problem in this neighborhood. And so we've talked in other presentations about how we hope we can contribute to positive solutions and traffic calming. And part of our project also is thinking about how could you live here without a car? Again, building for the future and thinking about, what are other modes of transportation? Public transportation is here. You can walk and get to amenities close by, grocery store, hospital, doctor's offices. So we're going to keep working on that traffic issue and understanding what we can about how to both minimize the impact we're having and think about solutions that, I think phase one is a small impact with 28 units. And so as we think about what we learned from this phase and think about expanding the project, having some time to figure that out. We're not gonna, we're not hitting Maple Street with a bunch of cars all at once. It will take time, and that will give us time to figure out solutions. So we're gonna keep studying the problem. We're having the traffic engineers do some further studies. Some of the data is kind of old on Maple Street, so getting some newer data and seeing what we can do with that. So we're going to keep meeting with people, and we're going to pursue our permits and approvals. We're going to keep raising money. Again, we hope to raise 150 for our pre-development costs. We're almost there. So anybody who wants to give, you're welcome to donate to Winston Prouty to help us keep moving forward. It's been great. The donors who have come forward have really made it possible these last several months for this to continue. We're going to hone in on those costs. As I said earlier, we're getting quotes from modular manufacturers so that we can really understand what the budget is, and then continue to work on that funding strategy. And our goal is to break ground in the fall of this year. Super ambitious. And I know that those who do development might be a little, like, really, can you do that? I don't know. But I think, all along our project has been, how do we hold this vision and hold ourselves to be aspirational, because we have a really big challenge in our community to face. And we think that this is a really good resource, and we are proud and honored to carry it forward and offer it in this way. And so we're going to keep holding that goal and see where we get. There is a website for our project, the village at village.winstonprouty.org. And I'm also happy to answer people's questions and hear ideas. This is really, we do consider this a community project, that we are stewarding it, and we are, again, honored to do so. And we appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far. So you're welcome to be in touch. I'm going to stop sharing and say thank you for listening. Again, if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas, we'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks.